We started this farm.
Actual season.
Yeah, in 2015. We started
Actually growing.
growing. Kind of fall 2014. We started getting stuff set up, so not very long.
No.
In college, I studied anthropology, and I focused a lot on the problems that civilizations face that cause them to decline, to break down, basically. And one of the biggest issues was mismanagement of resources. That made me focus a lot on how we today are using our resources and how our food is grown, and that got me interested in farming and sustainable agriculture. And so when I met my wife Katie, she was also very interested in farming, so that kind of got us interested together. We partnered with my parents who own this land. They have all of this, the beautiful forest and this area where we can be growing. And we're growing on probably about 2.5, maybe acres as far as vegetables go.
Okay.
So we do maybe about 50 different varieties of vegetables and about 20 different varieties of herbs. And some of our herbs are in a perennial garden on the other side, back by the garage. And most of that goes, we either sell it at farmer's market or we have our CSA. And we have, this year, we will have probably 10 members. That's where we're at right now. This is kind of the last week for sign-ups, so that was our goal. And this spring, we've just erected this high tunnel. So right now it's still in cover crop inside. So as far as conservation goes, we definitely are doing cover crops. And so right now what we're using is buckwheat. We haven't planted any of that yet, but some of that will replace some of the rye. We do all of our crop rotation is bed by bed basis.
Okay.
So it's like, this bed right here is garlic. And last year it was, this was buckwheat actually.
This was buckwheat.
So it's, we did a bed of buckwheat. And then this year it's a bed of garlic.
Yeah.
And so everything we rotate, it's not like this whole field is garlic and next year the whole field will be lettuce.
Yeah.
It's bed by bed rotation.
Cool. Okay.
And so you can kind of see this is buckwheat that we had here last year. So some of it, we let it go to seed. And we do that specifically for basically pollinator habitat. Most people would cut it before it seeds out. We like to let it get to flower so all the pollinators can get to it and other beneficial insects that like it. That's one of our main conservation efforts that we do to make sure that there's something, we try to make sure there's something in the soil all year long if we can. We have funding from the NRCS for our high tunnel project, so that is completely paid for by that grant. And that's something that
It's wonderful.
when the money's available, that I highly recommend any farmer doing that because it was completely paid for. We also had 2 conservation activity plans that were done. One was a forestry plan, so we had a forester come out and assess our forest land, and then we talk to them about kind of what we wanted to do with our woods. So we do a little bit of on the verge of forest farming. So we do a lot of wild foraging and certain forest foods that we sell, and mushrooms and other things like that.
And maple.
And we do maple syrup production, and so we could kind of gear that towards that. So now we have this plan on how to have a nice, healthy forest, right? Currently, we have an application with the NRCS for the Conservation Stewardship Program.
Yeah,
I'm sure I was
CSP, nice.
So it is not specifically geared towards small, diversified farmers. It makes things a little bit challenging for us to find certain conservation enhancements that fit within the framework of our farm and fit with our farming philosophy. I think that there has become more of a focus on different types of farms within the NRCS. I think that they've have a history of really working with larger farms, and that's been a focus, but there are definitely a lot of other farmers that can be served by the same programs or different versions of those same programs and conservation efforts.
And there's always things that could just keep us going, and we're just always looking for new things to do, and different ways to do things. You know, with the wild harvest in the woods and what we grow out here. And in the off season, which there isn't an off season, you know, we're doing the maple syrup, and there's always something, right?